I must be honest, I'm a bit grumpy about that. Not happy with that at all. Um, where do I start? Well, I guess I start at the start, really, don't I? I will get to the highly dramatic ending. At the highly dramatic ending of this video, I'm sure, but I've got the right ump. I am very, very grumpy about what has just unfolded. I don't know whether to be annoyed with the referee, pleased with the referee, pleased with the team, annoyed with the team. I mean, there's just so much has gone on. That was the complete opposite of the game against Southampton, of course, which was quite a boring game. Everything happened in that game. And let me just say from the start, I thought we acquitted ourselves well. And I'm not going to start laying into Mark Noble for taking that penalty. It could have been genius had it have worked out. In hindsight, let's hope we never, ever, ever do such a thing again. But I don't think a game will ever quite unfold again in the way that that one did. I'll just say a very quick thank you now to Sir Daddy for sticking 1.99 in the biscuit tin. Beg your pardon. Right, there we go. Anyway, let's get straight to it. I thought we started okay, particularly bearing in mind we didn't have Antonio. How are we going to deal without an Antonio? Well, we got our answer today, and it was basically Jared Bowen was going to play up front for most of the game, and players were going to try and get up and support him as quickly as possible. When I say players, sort of in the main, it was going to be Fornals and Ben Rama, who sort of got close to him and got around him as early as possible. A passing was sloppy. Souček's passing was awful, actually, at the start. His head and his tackling were absolutely fine. But my word, he looked tired at the start of that game. And I thought, well, this is not good. He gave the ball away at least 3 or 4 times. You have to excuse me, just reading from notes here. That being said, our football was quite good. There was we were quite expressive in the way that we were playing. We were trying to break and get forward in numbers. That being said, Man United were playing well. Man United certainly had the class player on the pitch, it has to be said, in Cristiano Ronaldo there. Although it was going to be a story and a tale of a battle between Zuma and Cristiano Ronaldo, which would have been fascinating just by itself without the bigger game of football around it. It was a really, really interesting duel, and it made up part of what was a highly entertaining game. You wouldn't have been displeased if you'd bought your Sky subscription today just to watch that game. That much is for sure. But anyway, went 1-0 up. And it was pressure from Jared Bowen, who, of course, his perpetual motion doesn't stop working, does he? Not a centre forward, though, not on this showing anyway. I'm sure Jared Bowen will get goals for us, but I think when you're playing against two fantastic centre halves like Varane and Maguire, it's going to be really difficult to hold the ball up. But anyway, he pressed the ball out wide. Forced Man United into a mistake, picked up on the scraps, ball came out to Yarmolenko, Yarmolenko, we're talking about, to Said Benrahma. Said Benrahma struck the ball. Now, Said Benrahma tried to do his usual curl into the top corner, and it was a massive deflection. It was on target. I think it was going into the top corner. I'm not even sure De Gea would have saved that, but it was deflected, and actually, rather than going to the top right corner, it went into the bottom left corner. Massive deflection. But I'd need to see it again. I think possibly, even if it hadn't been in there, I think it would have been a penalty because I thought it was handball. But I might have that wrong. I started scribbling notes. So I've not watched it back enough times. In between all of this, there were some Man United came back, started attacking again, some outstanding tackles and interceptions from Kurt Zuma in particular, and a really good save by Fabianski as well. In fact, a double save from Fabianski. It should be worth noting because I'm about to criticise him right about now, which is because Manchester United went and scored a goal. I mean, the ball came over and it was a decent enough ball. Ronaldo got a weakish sort of bit of contact on it. Ronaldo will often do this. If the ball's at an odd height or on his weak foot or something, he'll just try and get something on the ball. He did that. What can I say? Fabianski didn't catch it. He could have. It wasn't hard. It wasn't a stinger. It came at him tamely, and he spilled it out and basically offered the ball up into the path of Ronaldo, which you just don't do. In fact, I think in his first game back, Ronaldo might have scored a similar goal actually when he scored the brace a couple of weeks ago. I mean, we didn't need that. We didn't need that because actually it knocked the stuffing out of us. It really did. It completely took the wind out of our sails, gave Manchester United a lot more impetus as well. And Fabianski played well up to that point, and he was going to go on to play well as well. But it was, I mean, your goalkeeper's got to be out of catch. Really does. It really annoyed me. That anyway. Funny enough, he did make a very safe Ronaldo straight away after. We're now in this part of the game and in the first half. Start of the second half. And it's 1-1. Oh, I don't know what happened. Were they smoking weed at half time, or would someone stick some Valium in the oranges or something like that? I don't know what was going on. They came out second half really, really slow. Fornals constantly giving the ball away. Souček again started giving the ball away a lot. And I thought, oh, come on, what's going on here? And I thought, is this where we see really the impact of our European campaign? But actually, we picked it up and we started to play well again. Started to find a way to get at Manchester United. We were inviting pressure on ourselves to a certain extent, but we were able to break. But I think it came to a point where we were getting a certain amount of pressure. We were getting so far up the pitch, yet we weren't quite able to have that cutting edge, to make that final incisive pass or dribble or finish or whatever it was. So Yarmolenko was taken off. Yarmolenko was brought on and Vlasic was taken off, which was the right substitution. I'll go into a little bit more detail on Vlasic, certainly when we do the player ratings on the Patreon later on and in tomorrow's video. But there's so much incident here. Even now, I'm looking in my notes here. I'm sort of 60 odd minutes into the second half. Believe you me, the incidents are still yet to come. For some reason, something happened now. West Ham are denied a penalty. I don't know. I need to go back. I need to see it. Maybe they'll cover it in Match of the Day too. It's Souček was taken down in the box, but yet it wasn't referred to VAR. Now, we know VAR was perfectly operational because we were able number one, there was a penalty against us, which was referred to VAR, and then we had a penalty at the end went in our favour, which referred to VAR. Why wasn't this? Why didn't this get put through to VAR? I don't know. My goodness, I've just seen Dan there. Dan, listen, mate, that is incredibly generous, my friend, an incredibly generous donation. Thank you so much indeed, mate. Thank you so much indeed. That's really kind of you. Thanks, buddy. I don't know why if this had been the case, I'm not saying we would have scored it, and having watched the end of that game, we may not have scored the penalty, but we deserved a penalty. Here's where it starts to get really interesting, because at this point, it looked to me as if Man United, not Solskjaer, Man United were almost as if they were playing for a draw, and I'll tell you why. McTominay got a kick to the face. He stayed down far longer than he needed to. He wasn't injured. He really wasn't injured. But why is he playing for time? It's at 1-1. And then Varane did it, not with a hit to the face. Varane stayed down far longer than he should do. I thought, why are these players? This is not Man United under Fergie. It'd be going wave after wave after wave of attack. This wasn't happening at this point. I thought, hold on a second, they've given up the ghost. One person that hadn't given up the ghost, though, was Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, because he decided to introduce Jadon Sancho and Jesse Lingard. Now, the Jesse Lingard one was interesting because, out of respect, actually, when Jesse Lingard was substituted on, the West Ham fans stood up and applauded, as if to show Jesse Lingard's respect and to say thank you for your time at West Ham and so on and so forth, which I thought was a really, really classy thing to do. Lingard comes onto the pitch. He's a little bit involved, not overly, not any more than anybody. Actually, I was going to say not any more than anybody else. He was certainly far more involved than Jadon Sancho, which is, from an outsider's point of view, really interesting one to watch, to see what actually goes on there with him at Man United. But the game is swinging, but with no great intent from either side. Apart from then, Ronaldo gets a penalty. Ronaldo goes down under a challenge from Zuma. Doesn't get a penalty. I'll tell you now, I thought it should have been a penalty. The reason he didn't get it was he exaggerated too much. He sort of arched his back and jumped over. So he didn't get it. So I thought, actually, mate, you've kipped yourself then, because actually Zuma didn't make any contact at all. And also there was a second penalty claim for Ronaldo as well. that really should have been a penalty, and it went to VAR. I don't know. Zuma got none of the ball. I'm not complaining. I'm just saying it was really weird. So I counted at least one penalty West Ham should have got, at least one penalty that Man United should have got. I just found it weird what was going on. But in fairness to the referee, he was allowing the game to be expansive. He was allowing the game to flow to. And I think you felt that he wanted to use VR as little as possible, but sometimes, come on. I don't. The Ronaldo one's fine because they looked at it and they decided against it. I just thought, why not? Why did they not even look at the Souček one? Really, really weird. Lanzini was brought on for Ben Rama at this point, and Jesse Lingard scored a goal, and it was a good goal, and it was a goal that we will recognise. But really quite weird, actually, because and it has annoyed me. I've got to be honest with you. He scored the goal. Look, he's employed by Manchester United. He should score the goal. He has to try and score the goal. This is a man who's made a decision not to come to Manchester, not to come back to West Ham, and to stay at Manchester United. All right, he'd rather be there than here. That's fine. Get over it. Deal with it. Not a problem. At that point, he has to do the best he can for Manchester United, and he really did, and he scored an absolutely wonderful goal. The only thing that annoyed me was because obviously we'd applauded him onto the pitch, sort of out of respect when he first scored the goal, he went like that as if to show respect back to the West Ham fans and if to say to his teammates, I'm not going to go and celebrate this. Then he went off and went and celebrated this. So anyway, that's entirely up to. He's not a West Ham player, Man United player, can do what he wants. But I'm a bit peed off with him, that's for sure. But I'm grumpy because we've lost the game. We didn't have to lose the game. No, we really didn't have to lose the game because we had a bit of an attack down the right-hand side. Crossed the ball over. I think it was Yarmolenko, possibly crossed the ball over. Might have been Bowen. I think it was Yarmolenko. Luke Shaw was stood inside the box. He had his arm out. Bang, hit the arm about there. Right, about there. It was a handball all day long. Went to VAR. You sort of knew the moment it goes to VAR that it's going to be a penalty because it was. I didn't feel like we were robbed today in any way, shape, or form, by the way. Not by the result, because Man United had more attacks than us. They had more corners. Man United probably deserved to win that game, but we showed an awful lot of spirit today. And I think to get that far in the game, you would have wanted to having battled so hard, it would have been nice to come away with something. Absolutely. So anyway, we get the penalty. And what is really going to be the last kick of the game at this point. Then the most bizarre thing, the bizarre of all things happened, okay? So VAR rules that it's a penalty. We get a penalty. Declan Rice picks up the ball, walks towards the penalty spot, and exactly that point, West Ham do a substitution. And they bring Mark Noble on. Now, you're all thinking at this point, but hold on a second, because when we did the build-up, a lot of people say, a few people said in the chat, we had a little conversation about it, didn't we? Who's going to take the penalty if we get one? And I said, and a few of you said, I think it'll probably be Declan Rice. He's got his pecker up at the moment, isn't he? His confidence is high. Which he was going to take it. He was there wearing the captain's armband. Puts the ball down. Noble comes on. So Noble's first kick of the game is gonna be to take a penalty. I found this really weird. Now it's not without precedent. I mean, this happens in American sport all the time, right? This is what a goal kicker does in gridiron in the NFL. They get a kick. Basically, comes in cold. A little bit different from rugby because the guy's on the pitch anyway. The fly half's going to take the kick in rugby. He's already on the pitch. He doesn't need to get warmed up. He's generally kicked throughout that game anyway. This is going to be Noble's first kick of the game. I don't blame Noble at all, by the way, because can you imagine, had this have gone in our favour, that would have felt like a win. It would have felt like a stroke of genius. It would have felt like an absolute genius use of the substitutes bench. But it didn't turn out like that, did it? It actually completely backfired. And particularly when you consider there was pressure on De Gea because De Gea is a useless penalty taker. I mean, sorry, I say he might be a good penalty taker. What I meant was he's a useless saver of penalties. His record's actually quite poor. I think was it in Europe last season? Might have been last season, might not, might have been wrong. There was actually, I mean, his record's so poor. They were in a penalty shootout, Man United, and someone was suggesting for the penalty shootout to actually get De Gea off because he's no good at it. And I think they then go on and lose the penalty shootout, don't they? But he's not very good at them. But then again, to offset that, Noble's very good at taking penalties. All being equal, if Noble's fit and up to the game pace, I think there's only one winner in that duel, but that wasn't the case. It was actually the person that was up to game pace at that point was obviously David De Gea, and Noble steps up, takes a penalty. It was quite a weak penalty. It was sort of in no man's land. It wasn't hard and low, like sort of drilled into the bottom corner, but it wasn't curled up into the top right either. It was sort of in no man's. It was a comfortable height for the goalkeeper and a comfortable pace for the goalkeeper. It wasn't 1-1 at that point. It was obviously, it wasn't 2-2 at that point. It was then stayed 2-1 to Manchester United with obviously Jesse Lingard getting the winner. And I'm gutted. I am gutted. I got to be honest with you, I normally stand on the, come on these reviews regardless of the result, and I'm normally quite balanced with my opinions. But I've got the ump. I've got the ump about that. I've got the ump about how that went down. And I'm not sure if it's entirely because of the way that substitution happened. Not sure if it's the VAR. I'm not sure if it's because some of the players didn't play to their full potential and we were a little bit sloppy. I don't know if it was because we came so close and didn't quite grasp it in the end, because we did have some players that played very well. We'll discuss those in a second. I don't know if it's because Lingard's made out he scored the winner, which is going to be a dagger to any of our hearts. Made out he was going to celebrate, not celebrate, and celebrated. I don't know what it is, but I think everything going together, that's a hard watch for a West Ham fan to go through the emotions of those 95 minutes, whatever it might have been. It's a hard watch, you know what I mean, folks? That is sorry, I'm usually a bit more analytical than this. You basically just tuned in to watch a grumpy bloke who's really disappointed that his team have lost. That would have been a good draw, That would have been a really, really good draw. And so they've got some wonderful players. They really do have some great players. And I felt for large parts of that, we absolutely nullified them. And one of our signings in particular, in terms of Zuma, is going to be an immense player for us. You can absolutely see why David Moyes wanted to sign this player and to bolster defence. It looks really, really, it looks really good. Look, so I just bring Connor up there. Lingard should celebrate scoring against West Ham. Proves he made the right decision. Yeah, do you know what? I agree with all of that. Apart from good luck to him, I just can't do it, Connor. I've got to be honest with you. I've got the ump about it. I mean, my team's West Ham. I support West Ham far more than I support Jesse Lingard, and I get it. But I think it's more my problem, mate. To be honest with you, I've got to get over it. He decided not to join us. He had a choice: Man United or West Ham. He chose Man United. Most players would. I'm just annoyed that he got applauded onto the pitch. He scores the winner, breaks me heart. Says, "Oh, I'm not going to celebrate." Hey! Anyway, I'm done. I don't want to talk about Jesse Lingard again. I might do in tomorrow's video. Then I don't want to discuss the fella again. He's a Man United player, simple as that. But there was a lot to be. I've moaned a lot. There was a lot to be pleased about in that game, I've got to say, but I still think there's some tweaks that need to be done in terms of the fatigue. I really felt that Souček and Fornals showed fatigue in that game. And I'm not saying they played badly all game. They really offered a lot of good things in that game. But I mean, penny for Alex Krau's thoughts at the moment, actually, because he seems to not be able to get onto the pitch. That's going to be interesting. I'm sure he's going to start in the League Cup against Manchester United. But I just wonder if we have to manage those fatigue levels a little bit more. And it's not about everyone. It's just, I feel some of the players that played 90 minutes or very close to it, put it that way, in the European game against Zagreb, and then they were blowing after sort of 70, 80 minutes a day. So we might want to look at. That being said, I thought we managed the game really well. Yet again. And I don't want to, it would be easy to say about the Antonio thing because Bowen's not the answer up there. It'd be easy to say, oh, we lost that game because of Antonio. We didn't. We were very, very close. Very, very close to drawing that game. And small margins and all that sort of thing. And then, we scored a penalty. That's done differently at the end. Scored a penalty. It's 2-2, and then we're undefeated still this season. So so I just want to deal with what Lewis has said there. I don't know what to do this on reviews, but just he said we look tired, no backup strikers issue. Look like we have to be patient with Vlasic too. Oh yeah, I'm not gonna. I don't want to. I'll obviously have to discuss Vlasic in the Patreon player ratings video, which I'll do later. But I'll discuss him and Zuma more in the forum video tomorrow, certainly. In terms of man of the match for today, I'm sorry, folks. Our bet didn't come in, did it? If I had a bet had come in, that would have been nice. But we'd be happy anyway. We'd have won 3-1, and we'd all be minted, wouldn't we? I thought Rice played tremendously well today. Really did feel that he played well. Actually, do you know what? I'm not going to. I feel like you probably might watch this and feel I'm skirting over the issue of Vlasic. Clearly, he didn't play well. Okay, let me just say that. That being said, not everybody can hit the ground running and acclimatise straight away. So I just don't want to. I don't want to go in 2-footed on the new signing, so to speak. There's a lot. There's enough in that game to be annoyed about for me without concentrating on the players who perhaps didn't play quite so well. And I'm not impervious to the comments there. I can read what people are saying about Yarmolenko. Again, this is food for thought during the week, certainly. In terms of who played well, Rice played tremendously well. I thought he was fantastic. I felt probably didn't do ourselves a massive favour. Probably, if anything, confirmed to Man United that yes, they need to sign that guy. What a great player he is. Not my man of the match, actually. Man of the match. I'll tell you now why I wait till right at the end. That's Kurt Zuma today. I was so impressed with him. So impressed with him. I just, you know what it's like? At least if you draw the game, you feel that you can enjoy these individual performances more. I'd love to be over the next 2 or 3 days doing videos to look individually at the players. It just it feels crap when you lose like that. And to lose, we didn't actually lose right at the end. We almost made ourselves lose at the end with that farcical penalty routine. It was a routine, wasn't it? It was like a charade. It was, I don't know, a game of musical chairs or whatever it was. Really, really strange. I do believe that the Fabianski one is going to be really, really interesting. For those of you that haven't seen the start of this video, I did discuss it briefly there. Fabianski's made 3 excellent saves today. I mean, one of them was world class. 2 other really good saves. And he's made a really bad mistake as well. So, I mean, that is going to be interesting. I would have expected Areola to start in the League Cup game anyway. But that is going to be interesting because David Moyes might normally want to do something at this point. Because the mistake was so, when you're teaching your kids to catch down a park, that's bad hand-eye coordination. And normally that's a droppable offence, isn't it? But the other saves were so good, it might just keep him in. And you know what? It's the same. You don't want to hang the fella out to dry on one performance like that. Hold on, I just want to pop this up. You should never like. Oh, sorry, that's the wrong one. Sorry, no, not to dismiss that. As I had said, Zuma and Oggy looked good. They really did. They really, really did. And I'm not sure, even at his age, however old he is, Ronaldo, 50 or whatever, I'm not sure there's a better attacker. I know I've said it, I've labelled it in all the videos in the build-up this week. He's the best goal scorer that the world has ever seen. It's statistically so. It just is so. That's it. No one scores more goals than Ronaldo. Simple as that. And he looks like it. And, he could have had 3 or 4 today. My point being, I thought we actually handled him really well. You're never going to get a game with a player that good, sort of the best player in the history at scoring a goal. You're never going to keep him quiet all game. That's why he scored however many goals, hundreds and hundreds, 700 goals. I don't know, loads. You're never going to keep him quiet. But there ain't going to be too many attacks. Is there a better attack Is there a better attacker than? Well, they can't be. I don't know. Look, I know Man City will always carve you open, and Liverpool are good and all the rest of it. But when you look at the players they had on the pitch, and Fernandes on there and Paul Pogba on there and so on and so forth, these are brilliant players. They bring on Lingard and they bring on Sancho. It's an embarrassment of riches for Manchester United. And actually, by and large, we handled them really, really well. And when it came to it, right at the end, the reason we didn't draw that game was not because the defence didn't handle Ronaldo or Jesse Lingard or anything. The reason we didn't draw that game was a little bit of a suicidal. I was going to say self-suicidal, of course, it's the same thing. But a little bit of a suicidal penalty routine, some muddled thinking. It really was muddled, and maybe trying to be a little bit too clever. You know, just going to pick up on what Lewis has, if I can. Sorry, it just disappeared off. I was going to pick up on what Lewis has said, but it sort of disappeared off the screen. There it is. Lots of positives from stay, all things considered. We got lucky at times. We narrowly lost the game. Noble will be hurting badly. He would have been because, and he will be, because that would have been an iconic moment. It would have been a massive moment. Would have been one of the ones that we talked about for years. The time when we got the handball and Noble came off the bench and scored a goal with a final kick of the game. I don't blame him for doing it. I really don't. I don't blame him in the least. I'm not sure I overly blame the theory behind it. As I say, you see it in American sport all the time. But in hindsight, it didn't work. And it's not like I'm here being. I'm just annoyed that we lost. I'm not overly cross with any one person in particular, if you know what I mean. But even once you've said, I don't blame Noble, I don't really blame the coaches, it still happened and it still did cost us the game at the end. And that, my lovelies, is gutting, isn't it? It's gutting. Ruins your Sunday a bit, really, doesn't it? So, anyways, we have to go again. There's a few things we've got to rethink. There's so much to be spoken about. I think this review's crikey. 27 minutes of moaning. I do apologise, but I can see in the chat a lot of you are frustrated as I am. Patreon player ratings, be doing it. I'll probably record it straight away now while I'm still agitated. And I will discuss on the forum channel tomorrow. I'll be that's the Hammers Chat West Ham forum channel. We have two channels. Please do make sure you're subscribed to both, please. I'll deal with Zuma, Vlasic, and a couple of other things. Probably touch on Yarmolenko as well tomorrow. Thank you for tuning in. Sorry we couldn't do a bit of a more upbeat video, hey, but you can't you can't make a silk purse out of an old what's it, can you? That's true enough. Catch you next time.